Good afternoon. Welcome to the February 7th Planning Board meeting. This is our second meeting of the year. Our first item on our agenda is the review and potential approval of the minutes from the January 3rd meeting. I'll start with Mr. Belden. Do you have any comments on those? Ms. Andrews?
No.
No comments. No comments. I had no comments either. Fine job. I make a motion that we accept the minutes as they were submitted.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Our first item on the real agenda is old business. This is site plan review 220015. Pursuant to City Code Chapter 220-17-C, subsection 27, Thomas Osika, owner of tax map number 302.20-22-5, commonly known as 5 Pine Street, is seeking to amend an approved site plan review for the conversion of the building's use from office to its previous dual use of both office and residential. On December 19th, 2022, the applicant received a use variance to convert the property to a two-family residential use. In addition, the applicant is advising the board of some proposed renovations to the exterior of the building, namely the removal of the ramp and landscaping improvements. Mr. Osika. All right.
Good. How are you?
I'm well. So give us a little rundown of where you are. You've been to the zoning board now?
Yep, we've been to the zoning board. We got a use variance put in place for a two-family.
Okay.
So we're just seeking site plan approval for a two-family home. We have prospective buyers lined up. We're going to make a couple of changes to the property.
Okay.
They're hoping there's a ramp in front of the building. They're hoping to take that out. And they're hoping to put a green space behind the building. And as far as I'm aware, that's the only changes they're looking to make.
Good. All right, perfect. I will start with Mr. Brown. Anything from you?
I have no questions or concerns.
Okay. Very good. Ms. Murray?
Just the green space in the back. I know it's like a lot back there. Where would the green space be?
My understanding is it would be right behind the building. Yeah, kind of I would say adjacent to the building, but kind of right against it.
Looks like,
Is he still under parking?
looks like right there.
Yeah.
That one's.
No, I think that would look nice back there.
Yeah.
Maybe no one wants.
No
questions.
I had none. I think this was pretty straightforward. I'm not sure who said it. When you were here last time, I think we were all, pretty much in favor of what you were doing. And I think it's, getting the use variance to go back to the two-family was the big thing. Getting through that, I think you're in good shape for that. And I don't think any of us have any issues with it.
I just have one question too. Would the site plan approval also apply for dual use as well? So if there was an apartment upstairs, for example, an office downstairs, would it also apply for that?
I think that's an allowed use in that zone.
Having the two, when you do a combination, it's one of the last things on the zone list, you can do one use combined with another somehow. So you were just doing the approval for that. It wasn't a variance of any type.
No, he's already got his approval for the mixed use.
Yeah.
That approval still stands. Say if your buyer backs out, is that your
That's what I'm
question?
wondering.
Yes.
Okay, if your buyer backs out, you already have your approval for the dual use.
Okay.
And now tonight, if the board approves, you'll have your approval to convert back to the two-family.
Okay.
So in other words, there'll be two options that he'll have.
Right, but if you don't use one of your approved uses within a certain period of time, then it goes away.
That occurs.
Oh, okay. That's all I have.
All right. Good. Then I would make a motion.
How about, shall we do seeker quick again?
Oh, do you have some?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I would classify it as a type 2, as it's a replacement, rehab, or reconstruction of a structure or facility in kind on the same site, and it does not exceed any threshold, therefore no further action is required by the board.
Okay. Thank you. Then I would make a motion that the Glens Falls Planning Board, acting as the board of site plan review, hereby grants site plan approval for the project identified as Thomas Osika, owner of tax map number 302.20-22-5, commonly known as 5 Pine Street, as presented at the meeting of 7 February 2023. Second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
And,
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. I do need to get in touch with Gina and someone to talk to you about Wembley.
Okay, great. Thanks.
So I left a message with Mrs. Miller. I mean, we've had frequent email communications, her sending me forms and doing things through the mail.
Right.
Plus it's noticed in the paper, so,
Well, we're going to proceed with it
okay.
because I want to get it off of our agenda.
Well, she has been here twice and.
Yes. Yep. So the next item on our agenda is site plan review 220018 pursuant to City Code 220-19C subsection 6. Elizabeth Miller, owner of tax map number 309.28-4-3, commonly known as 126 Glens Street, is seeking to amend a previously approved site plan to include changes to a proposed Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, front access door. I know that there were new pieces of information that were submitted to us that show kind of where the ramp is in the front of the building. Everybody get a chance to look at that. Basically, I think what's going on here, the ramp, she had originally proposed to put a landing and a ramp outside the building. That was going to require a whole bunch of easements and things from the city. Subsequently, they opened the floor up inside the building and they found the old inclined entryway. They've modified that slightly to include an area at the top because the old door, the way it came up, the door was right at the top of the ramp. So now they need to have a flat space before they get inside. So I talked with Matt about it a little bit and they're going to move that interior part back. The 1-on-12 pitch left them about, I think it was 2.5 inches higher than the sidewalk outside. So there was going to be a big step at the end of the ramp. So what they're going to do is they're going to saw cut that part of the sidewalk and pitch it almost, as Dan and I were talking about, inverted to how it would be for a curb cut on a sidewalk. So it's just going to raise up a little bit and have there are several of them around the city. If you walk down the sidewalks, there are several places where the sidewalk kind of has a hump in it when you get to those. So this is going to be very similar. They had at first talked about utilizing pavers to go in that space,
Right.
but in talking with Matt recently, they decided that pouring the concrete there is going to be more beneficial because of the way the pavers were going to work out. It was going to have sharp edges that were sticking up. I thought that was kind of a tricky method, so I think the last I had heard from Matt, they were going back to poured concrete.
Well, the board approved
Yep.
the interior ramp and
Yep.
the exterior windows.
Yep. So the only thing that we're really talking about now is they have to get an easement from the city to modify that piece of sidewalk, which that will come from the common council.
Yes.
But we just need to approve of the plan that they have submitted contingent upon obtaining the easement from the common council.
And if I could point out, as you see, there are the pavers that the chairman just talked about. They did send me, and I can't seem to find it, I have so many files up here. It is in concrete.
Yeah, we have copies of it.
Yes,
It's concrete.
Yeah.
That was the last thing I heard.
Is the pavers, that's this old,
Yeah,
that's this old version.
they're doing concrete, and they did send a picture of that, and it's somewhere in this file.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, we have a copy of it as well. So, Mr. Brown, any comments from you?
No, looks good to me.
Okay. Mr. Bell?
It's good to me.
Nothing from you?
I agree.
I didn't have any issues with it either, and I did have a little bit of a go around with Kathleen and Justin and the mayor
Me.
and you. I really don't understand.
And if I could interject one more time, I hate to do this, but I know I sent the information around, I just, for the record, we had them go out to make sure what's called Pro-A regulations has to do with ADA compliance. And they have the proper distance between this and where the brick pavers.
And the brick pavers.
And that is, they make that dimension, it's 6.3.
They have
6
6
foot 3
feet,
inches.
3
3
inches,
inches, and they're
yeah.
required to have 5.
5 feet. Yep.
For pedestrian,
Correct.
to be able to go around it and go by it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I guess with that, I I would make a motion,
Oh.
Seeger.
Type 2 again, as it was last time, because it's replacement, rehab, or reconstruction of a structure or facility on the same site does not exceed any threshold to become ADA compliant, therefore no further action is required.
You just need to slap me.
I will, next time.
Okay, then I would make a motion that the Glens Falls Planning Board, acting as Board of Site Plan Review, hereby grant site plan approval for the project identified as Elizabeth Miller, owner of tax map number 309.28-4-3, commonly known as 126 Glens Street, as presented at the meeting of 7 February, subject to the following condition: that the easement for the work done to the city sidewalk be granted by the Common Council at their upcoming meeting.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? The motion carries. I believe that that addresses all of the items on our agenda for this evening, unless anybody has anything else for the common good. I would accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
This meeting is adjourned.